says, tell me the ways in which you take care of white people. And my mind was blown because no one had ever articulated what I had been doing my whole life. But I never, when my parents were telling me, you know, how to get through the world and how to have, you know, how to be successful, you know, it's not like they were saying, take care of white people, but what they were saying was take care of white people, like, right? Like make sure that you're, you know, I remember when I went from permed hair to natural hair to locks, they were like, are you sure you should be doing this? Is that professional enough? So there were all these like messages that they would tell me every time I tried to become more of my authentic self, you know, and it was just from a place of like, you know, people will perceive you differently because of the color of your skin. Right. So you have to think more about how you're going to wear your hair, how you're going to talk, how you're going to dress, all of the stuff that my white counterparts don't have to think about related to that stuff.
Absolutely. When you said that, Nathalie, it was my experience. I remember when all through college, I wore an afro. And before my graduation, my mother told me, you got to change that hair. And I had to get my hair permed because she said, and she was right. Back then, I wasn't going to get a job with an afro. But she was just trying to prepare me. This is the real world. When you go out there, that this stuff still exists, and to be aware of how you're going to be, perceived. She didn't know it was the white gaze. She didn't know that phrase. But that's much what she was trying to prepare. For.
That's what passes down through the generations is, you know, but we're not talking about what we're actually doing and how we're not interrupting the cycle. So, and it's the both and, right? It's like, there are certain things you might have to do for a period of time, but at what point do you have enough security or enough privilege or enough, that you can challenge and disrupt that. Because like I remember earlier in my career, I would then train other psychologists and other therapists to do the same things, like how to be successful in predominantly white spaces rather than trying to disrupt what was happening in those predominantly white spaces.
And as a Latina, I mean, for me, it's it's all been about adelantar la raza, to advance the race. So it's always, you know, whiter is better, and straightening out your hair, you know, was really important, and having curly hair and, you know, was also, you know, looked down upon. Like it was like, oh no, you want to straighten out your hair, have it nice and shiny, and then putting all these different things in my hair and straightening it out. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I even see that with my own kids. I have a 12-year-old and 14-year-old female and male. And I'm even thinking of like my own, as I like work through my own internalized white supremacy and internalized anti-Blackness stuff. They're Black biracial, but like, even as I parent them, I'm trying to teach them the both and, right? Like when I'm telling them like, oh, you know, do you want to brush your hair? You know, like I'm trying to like, teach them why I'm saying these things rather than just telling them to do it, so that they can make a choice, right? That sometimes when you're your more authentic self, which means like maybe claiming some of your ancestry and some of the ways your hair is natural, there might be consequences. And that doesn't mean that what you're doing is negative. It just means that the world is kind of built to be biased in these ways.